What's good, YouTube? Card Fight King here, and so we just got back from our store championship. Actually, it was yesterday. I just woke up this morning, but we ended up winning our store championship with DarkKnightmon. It is a purple deck, but we just have to wear the cloak of black for right now. But no, this deck really kind of plays like a in between of like purple and black. It's really cool, really fun. I feel like it has an answer to a lot of different things. It's very versatile in this play style and kind of like what you want to do with the deck. Is honestly just a really awesome deck, and I'll show you like my build and a few of the philosophies behind why I'm playing what I'm playing. Um, so to start off, I'm running the four Pokemon eggs. No other egg. I know the Montemon egg is pretty good, but I like the Pokemon egg because when something dies, I can flip the top and hopefully get a black card. It just helps keep up the not really the aggression, but helps keep me finding pieces and getting things, whether I need to Digivolve or my Nightmon pieces that I need for Digicrossing and things like that. It just keeps everything up. The Monstermon egg is really cool, but I feel like that egg is more for a defense. It's just really too predicated on defense and overpowering. Where I feel like I have enough stuff to hit security safely, and I think that getting the advantage is just better. For the rookies, two Chikurimon. For the best, probably the best searcher, I would say this is like one of the engine pieces of the deck. And then four copies of this Shikurimon. So we know this Shikurimon comes out secure. The D Digivolve is really good, especially against like pretty much a lot of things. The mechanic has really improved over the years. The Chikurimon egg can reduce play cards. Obviously, you want to be careful with this card because it stops your Digicrossing. But more importantly, especially if you have a decent board of knights, you can play under this, and then your opponent has to deal with that plus this. So that's really good in those matchups. And then the Monotamon, I think, is really the best card in the deck. I learned something from watching Straw Hat Izzy's Jessamon deck profile, where this is a type of card where it's the best searcher in your deck. Let the card do what it does best in search. And so usually I'd never put this in the egg area. I would just hard play this out for 3, get my top 4 search, add 2 cards to my hand, Nightmon, Deadly Axe, Twilight, which is a lot of what this deck is. So that's how I utilize the card, and it really helped me, in a lot of the matches yesterday. For the for the knight, 2 Cavalier mode, 4 Deadly Axe, 4 Skull Knight, and 4 Mighty Axe mode. I just like this lineup a lot. I kept flip flopping between Deadly Axe and Cavalier mode at between their numbers, but he's pretty much a vanilla card, and he is really good, especially when you digivolve him on Skull Knightmon. If you have to go for that line of play just based off your hand and like where you are in the game. But I like the Deadly Axe for his inheritable, the 2000 DP. 9K is a very healthy swing. Plus, it's another search card, so if you actually end up having Mighty Axe mode in him, you get a double search. Mighty Axe mode is really, really nice too. A great card to play off of a Dark Knight dying, whether it's your BT10 one or your BT7 Dark Knight. Just a really great card to play out. Get your search, and if you Digicross, then you get to pop something. So it's just honestly just really nice out of security tag. So this is probably the best searcher and one of the best ones because he puts it in the deck. But I think that the search and what he does is very underrated, and I would definitely look at testing out 4 copies of him because most of the stuff that you need to run the deck are your knights. That's a knight, that's a knight, that's a knight. You have Dark Knight, you have both Dark Knights, you have Dark Knight X-Antibody. So he's just a really good searcher if you need to get your knight pieces. Then for the megas, or the ultimate, I'm running 4 of the OG. This deck will be altered. Don't worry about that. So I'm running 4 of each Dark Knight. Obviously, the BT10 one is really good. The on-play Digivolve is fantastic. Like I said, Digivolving has improved in the mechanic. And then if you Digicross with them, you get to pop something 5 or less. Really good card at saving him in hand and waiting to counter your opponent for putting certain things onto the board. But otherwise, just getting him onto the board regardless is just threatening to your opponent. And then you know, with his alternates being able to play one out, bounce one to hand. So you can when you put stuff into his stack, just kind of think about like what you want, and if he does die, what you want to actually play and what you want to bounce to your hand. So really good. But this Dark Knight here, like I really like this card. I don't know if I still like him at 4, but it worked out. He gives you a different line of play. He lets you do digivolving type plays where maybe digicrossing is not the right move, is not really the best way to climb into your Dark Knight X-Antibody or Dark Knight anyways. So getting him out is nice. Plus he can spit out 2 cards when he dies, and then you can get both on play effects depending on how his stack was built. But like I said, and there are a lot of times where it's like, okay, you go Skullknightmon like Cavalier mode, and you don't want to like leave your level 4s out there just to be out there, and where you can, you don't ever really want to digivolve him unless you know it's kind of like a dire situation. But this is the best guy just to digivolve into, especially if you happen to swing and use Skullknightmon's skill as well. So yeah, I just really like both of the DarkKnightmon's deck. Plus this makes the deck much more searchable as well, so we just have a lot more targets that we just have so much less whiffing, and we just have a lot of consistency in the deck. And then Megas is going to be the Dark Knight X-Antibody. Really strong card. It's a card that I go into maybe once per game, which is why I've been suggested, you know, to cutting it down to 3. I may test it out at 3, but like I said, I really kind of I don't go into this card maybe once per game. I want to work on trying to get into this guy a lot more often. He's a really decent card because he can digio for 4 on top of pretty much all your ultimates, and his mandatory skill is to you bounce a card, a black or purple, back to your hand, so you can actually add your Death X and whatnot, and then you can you have to blow up a tamer in order to resend and unsuspend him. So it's mandatory that you delete 1 tamer and unsuspend this Digimon. So it's mandatory, but you know, if your opponent has a tamer, this is really good, especially when if like you swing with Dark Knight, you hit like a Mikey or an Akari or whoever out of the security, then it's like, okay, well I can go right to here and pop the card that you just brought out, or pop the card that you stacked all your stuff under. You know, it's just honestly really good. Death Xmon, because he just answers everything this format. You know, it's a card you can add back with the Dark Knight X-Antibody. For the options, I'm playing 2 Immortal Ruler and 3 Pride Memory Boost. The Pride Boost because it can put a knight onto the board. Even though it's a 4 cost, you can choke your opponent at 1, put a knight onto the board, and if you put like a Cavalier mode, or not Cavalier mode, if you put like a Mighty Axe mode, you can actually digicross and then like pop something, so this can turn into like a really good plus. And then Immortal Ruler is basically, I usually only grab the BT10 DarkKnightmon off of this, and as long as you have Nene, you can use this card without meeting its color requirements. And so you just trash the top 3, and then you can basically play a Dark Knight for his play cost. So you play the BT10 one, you digicross, and then it lets you digicross from the trash. So you can just grab the cards from the trash, digicross, and then this kind of serves as your 5th and 6th copy of him, where you can just play it like, man, I don't really have any options. My hand, I don't really want to give up some of the knights that are in my hand right now, but I can, you know, do Immortal Ruler, mill, get a D-Digivolve, and potential pop from the trash. Really good. I think it's a very strong card. I think it's good at 2. It kind of clogs at 3, especially because you need a Nene out. And the last one is Tamers, 2 Izzy, 2 NBA Youngboy, and 4 Nene. The Izzy can be any other, I think, really any other black memory setter that you want, or like Izzy Joe, whatever it is. I just wanted to go with the Izzy just because the top 3 are just kind of like stack the top to see what I want, and maybe depending, you can set up like a Dark Pride. Like if your opponent hits this out security, you flip the top, you'll raise, draw, maybe play Dark Pride, and you kind of guarantee yourself something. So it's you know, it's all right. The Analog Boy, when your Dark Knights die, you can tap to gain a memory, and hatch an egg. You know, he's really good at just giving you some extra memory and whatnot. I can see him cut down to 1, because most of the times I only had 1 Analog Youth out, and you know, he's not really like a game changing staple tamer to be in the deck, but I just I liked him. He was all right. But then I think you have to play 4 Nene. I know some people play 3 Nene, but you have to see Nene. Giving your knights blocker is extremely important, especially for how fast this meta can turn. It was really good against D Brigade, really good even against D Reaper. Against Crossheart, it's a real battle between how you manage your blockers versus how much of a rush they try to put on you with their swinging rookies and then cross 4s and cross 5 and things like that. So you get into a real chess match when you set up your blockers properly, and that's really only due to Nene. So she's a key card you want to get onto the board early and often, and you use her because when she comes out, she can search one card that's Twilight or Dark Knight Deadly Axe, but you gain 2 memory on deletion, so you can use her to end the game with your Dark Knight X-Antibody, where you can after you swing with your Dark Knight, you can Digivolve into Dark Knight X-Antibody for 4, pop her, and then that Digivolution cost essentially becomes 2 because you gain 2 memory, restand, and swing for game. So she's really a strong tamer and what you need in the deck. Yeah, but that's the deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it again. I really enjoy this deck. I love playing with this deck. I will be starting it out for sure. But yeah, I thank you guys for watching. Again, first place store championships with the DarkKnightmon deck. What can I say? I think it's a really strong deck. I think it was a little underrated overseas in that type of format, but I think in this format, you have a lot of answers to many of the decks in the format. Very versatile play style as far as different lines of play, whether it comes to digicrossing or digivolving. The knights just add so many different lines of play that you have to answer a situation. So yeah, there's probably a lack of destructive cards in the deck. And that's probably something that you may want to add in. Like I said, it's pretty interchangeable. It feels like a purple deck, but it's a black deck, so it is what it is. But Cardfight King, we're out.